Hi, welcome back to Car Juice. Today I'm going to be giving you guys the squeeze on the 2023 X6 M50 and why I think that this is actually a pretty solid deal in the used car market. Let's get into it, shall we? Now that is what I call a trunk, short and wide, just like I like them. But yeah, today we're going to be reviewing the 2023 BMW X6 M50. This has the 523 horsepower, 4.4 liter V8 from BMW, and there is an interesting value proposition on this particular car. This particular X6 M50 is $68,000, down from the original MSRP of $94,450. So that is about a 30% cost savings over what this thing was brand new, and you might be wondering, like I was, if this is something that is particularly interesting and worth it in the pre-owned market. An overall rundown of this vehicle shows that this has the extended Shadowline package, which gets you a blacked out kidney grille, a blacked out exhaust pipe, and then it also has upgraded red brake calipers. This one also does feature the M Sport Professional package, which gives you a illuminated kidney grille and a couple of other cool little goodies, such as the M Sport exhaust, which is standard on the X6 M50. And you also, under the hood, you have plenty of power. With 523 horsepower, this thing goes from 0 to 60 in around 4.4 seconds, making it pretty darn quick. Another thing that's pretty cool about the 2023 models that they no longer have on the X6 M60, which they came out with in 2024, is that this has the frozen kind of finish on all of the different badges on the back. Obviously, it doesn't have the cool 60 badge and it's not blacked out, but they're not doing this same material on the outside of it, which just doesn't kind of give it that same appeal as it would if it had the same metallic finish that's on this one. Again, this is an insanely good deal at about 30% off of what it was new, and I wanted to make this video to highlight what could potentially deter someone from picking up one of these specific cars. Traditionally, the BMW V8s have not been the most reliable engines. This particular one does have the third generation of the N63 TU3. It's actually the very final year that this engine was featured in a BMW product, and generally, it was not changed too much whenever it was turned into the S68, but this is a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged BMW V8, so it's got some things going on with it. The main difference between what is in this car versus a true X6M is that this does not feature forged internals and it's not a full M track based setup. You still have plenty of intercoolers, you have plenty of air intakes coming in and around, but compared to the X6M, you don't have quite as many radiators on the front. As you can see, this is not a functional panel here. If this was a true X6M, it would actually have a full functional panel and would have a lot of extra goodies going on to keep this thing cool if you were to take it on the track. Basically, this is the perfect daily driver if you're looking for a V8 BMW and you're wanting something with relative reliability. However, this does still come with a couple of drawbacks. Particularly, these are prone to some overheating and some coolant reservoir issues. We would frequently have issues with these while I was working at BMW with like leaking coolant chambers, and occasionally they would have leaks with the interior climate control systems. But overall, for a BMW V8, this is probably the most reliable one that you can get. So I would give this probably an 8 out of 10 as far as overall reliability goes. Another thing that if you are a metal gearhead like myself, you will notice that this does not have any additional hybrid stuff. So that's one less component that could potentially go wrong down the line. So on the S68, they added in the mild hybrid portion. So this is going to be a little bit more percussive whenever the car turns on and off at traffic lights, but overall is still a very good daily driver. This has a Manhattan green paint finish on it, which is my favorite paint. They are still featuring this on the new BMWs. However, it's just like, it looks the best on the X6, plus the rear windows come tinted at 18% in the back. Let's go ahead and check out the trunk. We did not do the Mafia test yet. So in the back of the X6, you have a removable privacy shade, which you can just take out and set just to the side. And then the seats do fold down on either side. You push a button on the top right shoulder and the top left shoulder, and then you have a relatively flat trunk. It does raise up probably about 3 degrees here at the very back of it. And you have some extra storage down below on top of those other seats folding down. If you look underneath, you have a decently sized cavity here in the rear. This does not come with a spare tire unless if you choose to option it as such, which gives you a huge extra space compartment that you could probably fit dang near 2 full-sized carry-ons as long as they're not super tall. So that's quite nice. You also have a tow hook cover here in the back and a spot for a emergency kit that is not there. BMW stopped including those as standard, I think, in like 2017, so been a little while on those guys. As far as creature comforts in the rear, you do have a 12-volt lighter here in the back and a grocery hook on the left side of the car. Let's go ahead and lie down in the back of this thing and see how it does for the car camping test. Oh, God. Okay, immediately, blunt force trauma. So that's a harsh knock off for the X6, but that's kind of standard whenever you're dealing with these SAVs. If I lay my feet all the way at the back of the trunk, as you can see here, my little toesies are touching the lip of the trunk, and you lay down, I can fit. So I am 5'8", and with the passenger seat put in a 6'2" or 6'3" driver position, I've got probably about half an inch or so of headroom, so that's not too bad. You could go to the crag in this thing. And it actually has a pretty decent ground clearance as well, being an SUV. If I was sitting behind myself, I would have more than enough space for me and my girlfriend in the back, so it does pass the car camping test. How does this thing do Mafia test-wise? So I would say that I could probably fit in here in just the trunk compartment because you have to keep it covered with the privacy shield. I would say that this is probably a 8 out of 10 on the Mafia test, maybe even a 7 out of 10 because of the lower head clearance. It just is not going to be the absolute best, but thankfully the privacy shield does give you a little bit more added privacy if you're going to the airport or if you're hiding dead bodies. Hopping out of the trunk, let's see, it does have the ability to power close the tailgate with the push of one button, making it very handy dandy, and it also does feature a kick to open tailgate. As far as tire size goes, we're rocking 275/40 by 20-inch tires on the rear, and then I presume it's a square setup on this car. Yeah, 275/40 by 20 on the front as well. You have a 2-piston caliper setup on the front, and then a 1 single piston in the rear. Let's check out the back seat on this bad boy. So you'll notice, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you'll know that on the X4, I said that it does not pass the cabeza cracker test. And this is not quite as bad as the X4, but you do have, even being 5'8", you still do bump your head. And I've got probably about 1 inch of my head that overlaps with the top of the trunk. So not great, but could be better. Not great, but could be worse. As far as once I get inside of the car though, I have plenty of headroom. I've got probably 3 or 4 inches of headroom in the back of the car, which is great. And then as far as legroom goes, sitting behind a pretty tall rear passenger, I have about 2 inches or so of legroom, so that's not too bad. No complaints really there. If I was to scoot behind myself at a 5'8" driver position, you're actually going to have a pretty reasonable amount of legroom space with probably about 5 inches in the back of the car, so that is very good. You do have the optional rear climate comfort package, which adds a heated armrest in the front, and it also adds in rear heated seats as well as rear climate control. Down below you have a 12-volt outlet, and then behind each of the driver and passenger seats you have a USB Type-C and BMW's handy dandy iPad mount, which you can basically attach anything that you want in the backup. You also have ambient lighting here in the rear, which looks quite cool, and this one does feature the Harman Kardon audio system. The seat material in the entire vehicle is this Veganza leather. This was a exclusive option to the 2023, and it does stay pretty nice, and I do prefer this over the Vanasca leather. I just think that it's a little bit easier to keep clean, and you don't end up with as many kind of weird smells and stains whenever you're dealing with an inorganic material compared to a organic material. While I'm back here putting the privacy shield back, I do want to mention you do have a 360-degree camera. That is part of the parking assistance package. It's a $800 or $900 option on this one, but obviously since this is used, that doesn't really matter. As far as a general list of options and features that you want to make sure that you are getting whenever you're shopping for an X6 M50 is that you find one that has a Harman Kardon audio system, the premium package, and really outside of that, there's nothing that's too important that you need because that 360-degree camera is absolutely paramount. But moving into the driver's seat, you are in a pretty in my opinion, the best BMW cabin that has been manufactured. It has the iDrive 7 operating system, and this particular one does not have any adaptive cruise control or anything like that, but it has a heads-up display, and then you have a simple to easy to use operating system, and this one also has the heated and ventilated seats, which is fantastic. The X6 also does come standard with a panoramic sunroof, which is quite nice. And then this one has the luxury seating package, which gets you these multi-contour headrests, massaging seats, heated and ventilated seats. So definitely a cool option to have there. That is not a mandatory one in my opinion. Really, as long as you have heated seats, ventilated seats aren't that serious and they're not that good. Whenever they came out with this seating material, it did get a lot better than what they previously had, but it's still like nothing crazy to write home about. It's an extra added option. You're probably going to pay, if you get one that's completely loaded up, you'll probably pay about an extra $7,000 compared to one that has 0 options. And be that, if that is something that you're personally interested in, go for it. But if this was my car, I probably would not spend the extra money. I care more about the drive and the performance of a car than I do about the options and features it has on it. But that's just my take. Go ahead and get this thing kicked on. And overall, the iDrive 7 operating system is pretty easy to use. It's not overly complicated. It does everything that you need it to do. You have 6 or 7 ambient lighting colors on the inside of the car. And overall, it just works pretty darn well. This one has the regular Sensatec dashboard material. It does not have the upgraded leather dash. It's one of those options I wouldn't pay more than $300 for, but it's one of my favorite options whenever this car was brand new. The ventilated seats and the climate control buttons are all physical, which is quite nice. And then the wireless Apple CarPlay works pretty darn well. Another common option that you sometimes see and sometimes don't is a wireless charger. This one has the wireless charger because it has a little Thunderbolt in the center. If you just see a picture of a phone, that means you can use your phone as a key, but it does not have a full wireless charger in it. But the steering wheel is not the flat bottom that they're currently rocking on some of the new BMW models, but it is real leather and it does feel pretty darn nice whenever you're using it to corner and whip your car around. The infotainment cluster is all digital and you have a full color heads-up display. This isn't the same as what's in the current cars, but it's pretty darn good and it gives you all the information that you need to know from a day-to-day standpoint. That is more or less, however, everything that I have to talk about on the inside of the car. I'm going to put one version of you guys here on the window and then I'm going to put another version of you guys up on the dash. We're going to take this thing on a quick cruise. All right, so in the driver's seat of the 2023 X6 M50, see how this baby drives. So a cool thing that I did not mention in the intro of this video or in the first half of this video is that I love how the X6 M50 handles because of a particular option that most people don't know too much about. There goes my water bottle. But that is the standard all-wheel steering that is on the X6 M50. What's so cool about it is that as you are turning and you're at low speeds, the wheels turn in opposing directions to the front wheels. Whenever you are going at high speeds, they actually turn all in the same direction, which basically makes this car kind of glide across the surface and just handle stupendously for a vehicle that weighs about as much as your mom at almost 6,000 pounds. Freaking crazy, or over 6,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. Basically, she's a hefty girl and I love to see it. Accidentally left it in Sport Plus, but we're gonna throw this thing into Comfort. Whenever you put the car into Comfort, the side bolsters do contract and they give you a little bit more space. Whenever you put the seat into Sport Plus, it automatically is going to push the side bolsters in and make the car just a little bit better handling. The luxury seating package is a fantastic option. You don't need the full luxury seating, which adds the massage and the ventilation, but I would definitely try to find one that has these multi-contour seats. It was $750 from the factory. You know, if you pay an extra $250 or $500 to get that on your car, that is another one that is worth it. Harman Kardon premium package, parking assistance package, and the multi-contour seats. Those are like the must-have options on the X6 M50. Some other things that you want to make sure whenever you're purchasing a used BMW is that you always get a PPI done, a pre-purchase inspection. It's going to cost you about $300, but it's so worth it, especially when you're dealing with these very high-maintenance V8s. But if you do that, this car will take care of you if you take care of it. So listen, we are in Sport Plus right now, so that's gonna sound really good and the car's gonna aggressively shift between gears. If you turn it into Comfort, it's actually going to quiet back down, and it's not going to be very loud, and it's not going to be very boisterous. It just becomes a very suitable daily driver, and this actually gets pretty darn good gas mileage as well. Whenever I took an M550 of 2023 to Chicago, I was able to get probably 30 miles per gallon around trip, and I drive fast. So that's really good. So this is probably going to get around 27 miles per gallon with that V8. So pretty good on the interstate, that is. If you're going around town, you're probably going to get closer to 19 to 21 miles per gallon, which is still not bad, but it's not like crazy good. That's a V6 or a 6-cylinder from a couple of years ago. Overall cabin quietness is pretty good. Yeah, I thought so, and I remembered as such. This does not feature double pane glass. Overall, it's a pretty quiet cabin. It's not like crazy quiet, but you do have stereo audio, which makes it nice and easy to take phone calls. So if you're somebody that drives for work and takes a lot of phone calls, this is probably a decent car to drive a lot of miles in. Plus, if you purchased one brand new instead of going for a used one, you're gonna have the added benefit of it qualifying for the Section 179 tax write-off, and you can take accelerated depreciation, all that kind of good stuff. Very, very cool. Sound system, good 8 out of 10. That's why I said you must get Harman Kardon, and that will help retain value. So where does that leave the X6 M60 all in all? Would I buy one used? Yes. Specifically, the X6 M50 is a great deal on the used market. 60 grand for a car like this is pretty sick. Plus it only has, 31,000 miles. This car really won't give you much trouble at all until you get closer to the 60 to 80,000 mile mark. So not really too big of a deal. It is going to be more expensive to maintain than say a Honda Pilot, but it's really cool. And if you've already taken so much depreciation, you should be able to sell this thing as like 3 to 5 year old, or own it for 3 to 5 years, and you should be able to get, anywhere from 20 to 35 grand out of it if you were to drive it for several years. I think that that's pretty decent and doesn't put it that much above a typical car in this class. So I think getting one on a pre-owned deal is a very good idea, and I would say, yeah, I would give it solid buy category on this guy. 8 out of 10 overall in terms of car juice opinion. If you can afford 60 grand for the car, I think that this is much cooler than an X5, and I think it's going to hold its value a bit better because of that V8 and because of the rarity of this. V8s are not going to be around forever, and get one while you still can before they're all gone. But because you guys stayed to the end of the video, I'm going to throw this thing in Sport Plus. Give her a little beans. Give her some beans. If you guys want to see a full 0 to 60 test, I will have a couple of reels and some shorts on my channel where you can see the full 0 to 60 test, plus cold starts and other goodies about the X6 on my channel. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Deuces.